So folks, as I say, I'm not going to talk to you about Partygate because, in all honesty, we saw the images in the Sue Gray report, and if that's the Prime Minister's attempt at hosting a raucous party, I've seen more exciting-looking gatherings in the safe space of a Labour Party conference after Sabir Korma has replaced Jezza Corbyn. I'm also not going to talk to you about monkeypox. I mean, calm down, dear. The mainstream media's collective attempt to terrify all of us into a panic, it's unceasing and unrelenting. Give it a rest, I say. You'd think the newspapers were a pack of monkeys the way they're letting out a collective ooh-ooh-ah-ah over a few poxes. And frankly, I'm not going to talk to you about a few £100 off your energy bills thanks to Socialist Sunak, enough to keep the lights on for a few hours at the rate in which the prices are rising. I've told GBNews I can do my show in the dark. We'll save an absolute fortune in makeup and the electricity. But what I want to actually talk to you about is more fundamental. What does the Conservative Party actually stand for? It used to be understood it was a popular policy, wasn't always a sound policy. That's what the Conservative Party used to grasp. It was a party that believed it was morally right for people and for business to keep more of the cash, rather than big government wasting it on inefficient central planning and pet projects. These days, if the Labour Party shouts loud enough about something, the Conservatives end up adopting their demands and putting them into law. Or in the case of the windfall tax grab, going even further. Why would any international investor look at Britain and think there's a good place to create jobs if the Conservative approach is one where, if you're making a profit, the government may well decide they'll be having that tar very much? It would be rude not to read that particular bank account. When the British people put their faith in Boris, the bumbling blonde bombshell, millions were voting for a Tory party that was in touch with them on everything from Brexit, the BBC, and reshaping Britain. Communities like my patch in County Durham would be forgotten no more, thanks to the levelling up agenda. Or so we thought. Boris seemed to be for Britain and for people like us. It cut through and it gave the Tories their biggest majority since Thatcher. Now, Mrs. Thatcher, she knew what she stood for, didn't she? When she left office, she had transformed the British economy from being the sick man of Europe to a pioneer of privatisation. It boosted productivity and it led to more jobs and prosperity. She faced fierce criticism and demonisation from Labour, but unlike Boris, she stuck to her guns and she didn't give in. Eventually, it was an economic miracle that would be copied around the globe and in the name of freedom. I'm afraid to say that today's Conservative Party hasn't the first clue what it stands for. And as the adage goes, those who stand for nothing fall for anything. That's what I'm afraid Boris Johnson's doing right now. Boris, the supposedly business and liberty-loving Tory, has overseen the biggest hike in national insurance and tax in a generation. And he's currently cheering on the biggest crackdown on online free speech in the Western world, under the guise of the Online Safety Bill. And don't get us started, folks, on lockdown and his attempts to out-green the Green Party at COP26. Cash, coal, cars and trees. More like the biggest con we've ever known. No wonder Dominic Cummings calls him the trolley, zigzagging more than a Spice Girl all over the place, going in the direction of whoever he bumped into last. The vision for post-Brexit Britain used to be one that would shake off the shackles of European social democracy. We would be a vibrant, dynamic economy that would look away from the lazy focus of one continent of the earth and instead look to the world, strengthening old relationships and forging new ones to be at the very forefront of the industries of the future. Well, that progress has been pretty slow, I think it's safe to say. Half a decade since Brexit, and the government has only just brought forward plans to fix the Northern Ireland Protocol, bring back Northern Ireland into the UK's single market, and introduce the Brexit Freedoms Bill. So we can actually lift unscientific EU bans on things like GM crops, which we're going to be discussing and debating later in this very show. And the Rwanda migrant plan, I mean, come on. It's not working yet, is it? As we learned from the Home Office data this week, more than a million foreign nationals were actually allowed to live in the UK in 1 year, one single year. Housing crisis? Nee wonder. Visas are being handed to foreign nationals and they're surging by 35% in a year. And the number applying for asylum in the UK rose by nearly 45%. Are we taking back control or completely and utterly losing it? Is it surprising then that a YouGov poll reported this morning shows that the Tories would lose all but 3 of 54 of the seats that it took from Labour 3 years ago in that seismic election? The red wall would fall, and the Tories, frankly, would deserve it. I don't care if he had a beer in lockdown, but I do care that he is now a clear danger to conservatism, risking allowing a left-wing coalition to seize power. It'll change electoral, the system that we vote on, and keep the Tories out of power for a long, long time. So I say, as one of the supporters, come on, Boris, be bold, be brave, be the Prime Minister that you told us you would be.